Cat Flame Roaring Fire. Cat Flame Roaring Fire is an insanely powerful technique, and Yugito Nii, the Jinchuuriki of Kumogakure, showed it off in an intense battle against the immortal duo, Hidan and Kakuzu from the Akatsuki. The way this technique works is pretty unique. When Yugito partially transforms into Matatabi, she channels fire release chakra into her mouth and unleashes a massive fireball with extreme temperatures. But this isn't just any regular fire. It carries the special traits of Matatabi, the two tails, producing blue flames that can burn through almost anything in their path. Unlike normal fire release jutsu, these flames are infused with Bijuu chakra, making them ridiculously destructive. The sheer power of this technique was on full display when Yugito used it to destroy an entire structure in a single attack. It didn't just bring the building down, it melted the concrete, something standard fire jutsu could never do. Overpowered? Absolutely. But unfortunately for her, she was up against two guys who just wouldn't die. But first, huge shout out to everyone who's been rocking with the channel every day. You, and you. All of you. Without you guys, these videos would just be floating around the internet like lost jutsu scrolls. Every view, every comment, every like or share is the ultimate chakra boost that keeps me going, diving into anime, breaking down epic fights, and exploring the Naruto universe. So, seriously, thank you for being part of this journey. Next goal, 10K subs, and I know we can do it. Let's keep pushing forward together. Love you all. Mouse hairball. This is another fire release technique used by Yugito Nii. When activated, Yugito transforms her saliva into a flaming hairball shaped like a burning mouse. Once thrown, this fireball doesn't just hit a single target and stop. It continuously splits into smaller fireballs, all still burning, and relentlessly chases down their target. These fireballs will keep attacking until they make contact with anything, at which point they explode, causing massive damage. The true power of mouse hairball lies in its ability to attack continuously and stay locked onto the target, making it incredibly difficult to dodge unless the opponent has a solid defensive strategy. It has a wide range and can strike multiple targets at once. Perfect for bloody battles, this technique can wipe out entire squads or groups of enemies with brutal efficiency. Great fireball technique. Great fireball technique. This is a technique that every Uchiha must know. Otherwise, you're not really part of the family yet. It's a signature move of the Uchiha clan, so much so that it has become a rite of passage. If you're an Uchiha and haven't performed it yet, well, sorry, you're still considered a kid in the eyes of the clan. In terms of mechanics, the user will mold chakra inside their body, convert it into fire, and then release it as a massive fireball. If controlled properly, this fireball can maintain its shape as it flies towards the enemy, and upon impact, it's powerful enough to create a deep crater and burn everything around it. As for the strengths, this is a technique with fast execution, decent power, and ease of use. It doesn't require much chakra, but still creates significant damage, enough to overwhelm an unprepared opponent. However, the weakness of the Great Fireball technique is that it's pretty easy to predict. Since it travels in a straight line, an enemy with high speed or someone using body flicker can dodge it fairly easily. Also, like most fire release techniques, it's countered by water release. If it faces a strong water release user, the fireball can be extinguished as soon as it appears. Overall, this technique is more symbolic than practical. Blastwave Wild Dance. This technique was used by Obito during the Fourth Great Ninja War. This technique perfectly combines the power of the Sharingan and the mastery of fire release, two signature traits of the Uchiha clan, creating a ninjutsu capable of overwhelming opponents. The technique begins with a user molding chakra inside their body, converting it into fire energy, and then exhaling it as a massive stream of flames. The user then manipulates the fire, twisting it into a spiral shape. This swirling vortex of flames engulfs the opponent in a giant firestorm, creating a burning prison with no escape, forcing them to endure intense flames. When Obito used this technique, he enhanced it with his Kamui ability, generating additional wind currents to support the formation of the fire vortex. This combination significantly increased the technique's power and attack range, making it one of the most terrifying fire release jutsu. Dragon Fire Technique. Fire Release. Dragon Fire Technique is one of the signature fire release jutsu of the Uchiha clan, most notably used by Sasuke during his battle with Orochimaru in the Forest of Death. The technique works by having the user exhale a fierce stream of fire from their mouth, What gives this jutsu its dragon fire name is the way the flames shoot straight forward at high speed, resembling the breath of a legendary dragon. Upon contact with the target, the flames erupt intensely, engulfing and burning the area with extreme heat. When Sasuke first used this technique against Orochimaru, he combined it with metal wires. He wrapped Orochimaru in several metal threads, and then used them as a conductor to direct the flames straight at his opponent's face. A key difference between dragon fire technique and the Great Fireball technique is the focus of their attacks. While the Great Fireball technique creates a massive fireball that burns everything in a wide area, Dragon Fire concentrates all of its energy into a single target, functioning like a precision-guided missile. This makes Dragon Fire an ideal choice for situations requiring accuracy and focus, especially when facing fast-moving opponents or fighting in tight spaces. Great Dragon Fire technique. It was also used by Sasuke during his historic battle against his older brother, Itachi. This technique played a crucial role as a setup for Kirin, showcasing Sasuke's exceptional tactical thinking. The technique begins with the user gathering a massive amount of chakra inside their body, compressing it, and converting it into heat energy. Once the chakra is fully compressed, it is released as gigantic fireballs shaped like dragon heads. The user has control over their movement, speed, and even size during the attack, making it difficult for opponents to predict and counter effectively. Even if the target manages to stay outside the direct impact zone, the intense heat radiating from the fireballs can still cause severe burns and weaken their ability to fight. The extreme temperature of this technique generates a strong updraft, leading to the formation of thunderclouds in the sky, creating the perfect conditions for Kirin, a jutsu that harnesses natural lightning. Dragon Flame Release Song Technique. This jutsu was showcased by Uchiha Madara during his legendary battle against the Five Cage. This is an upgraded and more refined version of Great Dragon Fire technique. When activated, Madara simultaneously breathes out multiple massive fireballs shaped like dragon heads, launching a multi-directional attack that is extremely difficult to evade. The technique covers not only the front, but also the left and right sides of the target, making escape nearly impossible. What makes this technique even deadlier is the unpredictable movement of the dragon heads. They zigzag randomly, following no set pattern, which means even Kage-level ninjas struggle to dodge them effectively. However, despite its impressive execution and area coverage, the raw destructive power of this technique is not really extraordinary. Exploding Flame Formation. Exploding Flame Formation was used by Hanzo of the Rain Village. This technique is a deadly trap that combines fire release with sealing techniques, making it both tactical and devastating. The way it works starts with the user preparing a series of explosive tags that have already been infused with fire release chakra. These tags are then hidden underground, waiting to be triggered. When an unsuspecting target steps into the trapped area, Hanzo slams his palm onto the ground, activating the explosive tags. In an instant, the tags rise from the ground, wrapping tightly around the target's body from the legs upward. Once secured in place, they all detonate at the same time, creating a massive explosion strong enough to shatter solid rock and engulf the victim in flames. The sheer power of this technique was demonstrated in the case of Nagato. Even though Hanzo acknowledged Nagato's ability to avoid the trap, the truth is, Nagato still suffered severe injuries to his legs. These injuries resulted in permanent damage, leaving him unable to move properly for the rest of his life. Flame Bullet. Flame Bullet is a simple yet highly practical ninjutsu that is closely associated with a legend, Jiraiya. The way this technique works may seem like a simpler version of the Great Fireball, but there are some key differences. Instead of just using chakra to create fire, Jiraiya also combines it with oil that naturally forms in his mouth, which is produced by his chakra. He then spits the mixture out and ignites it. The oil coating the flames makes them stick and burn more intensely, giving it significant destructive power. Toad Oil Flame Bullet. This is a powerful technique that combines Jiraiya's fire-style ninjutsu with his longtime partner, Gamabunta. This technique brings together two elements, fire jutsu and Gamabunta's ability to spit oil. Quite similar, right? The execution is simple but effective. Gamabunta, with his huge lungs and tremendous strength, spits out a massive amount of toad oil from his mouth, creating an oily mist that covers the target area. Then, Jiraiya uses fire release, flame bullet, to ignite the oil, turning it into a massive, powerful fire. The intensity of this fire can cover a wide area, forcing the enemy to face the risk of being completely burned. This is also shown in the anime when Naruto Uzumaki, instead of using fire from typical fire jutsu, uses an explosive tool like a ceiling explosive tag to create fire, proving that not only Jiraiya, but others can also utilize the power of this technique. The attack is so powerful that it forces Manda, Orochimaru's snake, to shed its skin to escape from the terrifying flames. In large battles, this technique is extremely effective for clearing a vast area, dealing severe damage, and leaving the enemy with no time to react. Sage Art, Goemon. This is one of the most powerful techniques used by Jiraiya, combining a great collaboration between him, Shima, and Fukasaku. It is one of the Sage Art techniques where the user blends their mastery in ninjutsu, sage mode, and the ability to work with summoned creatures in combat. The technique begins with Jiraiya creating a massive amount of oil, using his sage mode powers to produce toad oil. When the target is trapped in a narrow space, like inside a building or a hole, escaping becomes very difficult. Next, Fukasaku performs a wind release, using a strong gust of wind to push the toad oil into the exact position, creating an oily mist that covers the entire target area. Finally, Shima performs a massive fire release, igniting the oil and turning it into an incredibly powerful fire. This fire is heated to extremely high temperatures, capable of burning everything in the area, from the enemy to the entire surrounding environment. The strength of this technique lies in the perfect coordination between the three warriors. Jiraiya provides the oil, Fukasaku creates the wind to direct the oil to the target, and Shima sets it all on fire, creating a massive firestorm with a wide range, ensuring a devastating kill. Great Fire Annihilation. Madara Uchiha is truly a fire-style master, and the Great Fire Annihilation is the clearest proof of that. This is not just a high-level fire release technique, it's also a symbol of the overwhelming power of the Uchiha clan. Basically, this technique transforms chakra into a massive sea of flames that sweeps away everything in its path. It's not like those low-level fire techniques where you just blow fire for fun. This is a wide area attack, powerful enough to incinerate the entire battlefield. Just look at the scene where Madara uses it in the Fourth Great Ninja War. Dozens of water-release ninja had to team up to put it out. This clearly shows how destructive the technique is. The strength of Great Fire Annihilation lies in its massive impact. It's one of the most influential fire release techniques, nearly impossible to avoid unless you have extremely quick reflexes or a powerful defense system. Great Fire Destruction. When Madara Uchiha uses fire release, you know he's about to set the map ablaze, and Great Fire Destruction is one of his most terrifying techniques, especially when combined with his strategy of mass destruction. The most impressive time Madara used this technique was when he stood on his Susanoo, with a forest made of wood release growing below him. It was like a forest of gold, sea of fire, in the truest sense. Since wood release is easy to catch fire, Great Fire Destruction immediately turned the entire area into a massive sea of flames, almost like a forest fire. Compared to Great Fire Annihilation, this technique not only has an enormous range, but also makes full use of the surrounding environment to maximize its damage. If the enemy is in an area with many flammable materials, their chance of survival is nearly zero. The scariest part is that Madara, as a high-level ninja, can control the flow of the flames, directing them to surround the target and leaving no chance of escape. Hiding an ash and dust technique. This technique is also used by Madara Uchiha when he is revived with his true body after Edo Tensei. In terms of mechanics, the user exhales a large amount of ash mixed with chakra, covering the entire area around them. Instead of using smoke bombs or creating obstacles, Madara can just blow a breath and instantly create a shield that not only causes damage, but also disorients the enemy. What's even more terrifying is that this technique doesn't require hand seals, meaning it can be activated almost instantly, giving the user a huge advantage in high-speed combat situations. However, this isn't an overly powerful technique. Its damage range is not large enough to finish off the opponent. It's mainly used for quick reactions and helps the user regain control of the situation. Intelligent hard work. Well, the name might sound like a work ethic philosophy, but actually, it's one of the deadliest techniques of Kakuzu, the man who struck fear into the battlefield with his stolen hearts. This technique was used in his final battle against Team Kakashi, and it perfectly represents his nature: simple, effective, and incredibly hard to dodge. In terms of mechanics, one of Kakuzu's masks spits out a small fireball. Sounds harmless, right? But wait, as soon as it touches a surface, the fireball explodes into a massive firestorm, engulfing the entire surrounding area. Unlike other fire release techniques that spread with the wind or in the air, this fire crawls across the ground, making it nearly impossible to avoid unless you have some superhuman speed or a wall of water at the ready. The strength of this technique lies in its huge attack range, combined with a fast spread, leaving little time for the opponent to react. And if just the fire alone isn't enough to make you wary, Kakuzu can amplify the attack by combining it with wind release. Pressure destruction, turning the firestorm into a sea of flames powerful enough to evaporate an enormous amount of water in the blink of an eye. Pretty impressive, right? Strange Mask Exploding Flame. Strange Mask Exploding Flame is a very unique technique in Kakuzu's arsenal. It's a combination of wind release and fire release, coming from the masks Kakuzu controls. Kakuzu can control these masks not only with his will, but also coordinate them perfectly to create an incredibly powerful explosive fire. When these two elements combine, the flames produced are extremely hot and powerful, difficult to extinguish with conventional methods. Kakashi Hatake once commented that water alone couldn't put out this fire, and only a technique combining wind and water could counter its intense heat. This shows just how destructive Strange Mask Exploding Flame really is. Phoenix Sage Flower Nail Crimson. Phoenix Sage Flower Nail Crimson is a very dangerous fire-style technique that combines shuriken usage with fire jutsu in a deadly way. This technique was first used by Itachi when he was revived through Edo Tensei during the 4th Ninja War. When performing the technique, Itachi throws a series of shuriken at the enemy while using his fire-style chakra to blow into them. This combination not only makes the shuriken physically damaging, but also sets them on fire, turning them into deadly weapons. The use of fire jutsu to enhance the shuriken's power also increases the potential for severe burns, whether from direct impact or from contact with anything in the path of the shuriken. The strength of Phoenix Sage Flower Nail Crimson lies in its ability to deliver a rapid series of attacks that are extremely difficult to avoid, causing significant damage. Killer Bee even managed to block it by simply extending his hand to catch them. That must have hurt, but Killer Bee is tough enough to take it without a problem. Scorch Release Halo Hurricane Jet Black Arrow Style 0. This is one of the most powerful combination techniques, merging two of Naruto and Sasuke's strongest abilities. Wind Release, Rasen Shuriken, and Blaze Release, Kagutsuchi. This is a top-tier technique that showcases the perfect blend of wind and fire. When both Rasen Shuriken and Kagutsuchi collide in the air, the combination of wind and fire creates a mysterious black vortex, turning the technique into a giant black fire pinwheel. Upon contact with the target, they are engulfed in a swirling mass of black flames. Depending on the scale, the technique can either be a massive Rasen Shuriken combined with intense black fire, or a smaller version of the Rasen Shuriken with black fire from Kagutsuchi, forming a firestorm that makes it nearly impossible for the opponent to escape. Uchiha Flame Formation. Uchiha Flame Formation is quite special, as it is a barrier technique. The way this technique works is impressive. Obito only needs to create small flames from the tips of his fingers and then slam his hands down onto the ground. Immediately, these flames combine and form a cylindrical wall of fire that surrounds the area Obito chooses. What's special about this technique is that despite creating a large amount of fire, it is incredibly efficient in chakra usage. This technique uses the ground as a catalyst, helping to maintain the fire without using up too much energy. This shows Obito's skill and strategy in chakra usage. When enemies approach and touch the surface of the firewall, they are instantly set on fire, making it a strong barrier. It creates a forbidden zone that enemies are too afraid to approach, giving Obito a significant advantage in battle. The fire from this technique is powerful enough to repel an attack from Chome, the Eight Tails Beast, showing that its strength is no joke. Well, there's one technique I haven't mentioned yet, and it's hailed as the pinnacle of fire-style jutsu. Do you know what it is? Comment below.